Hello and welcome to your first video. This is Willow. She's a 6-month-old shepherd. She has been in training for a little bit, so she kind of has a general understanding of the commands, things like that, leash pressure, all of that. So I'm going to go over the slip lead. She has a slip collar on right now. As you can see right here, if you can see her. She is learning to walk on your left and do all of her obedience on your left. So the way that the leash goes on is really important, like I went over in the first video. So I'm going to slip this over her head just to be able to show you. So if she is on your left, the part you pull needs to go over her head and towards your leg. And what you're going to do, most slip leads come with these little leather things to stop it from going too far. You're just going to slip it over her head. Whoops. Girl. Behind her ears, and then the higher on her neck, the better. Kind of like a mama dog. If you were to watch a mama dog correct her puppies, she's going to grab their scruff right behind their ears. So that's kind of what you're looking for as far as that goes. And the only time you're going to apply pressure to her neck is when you're trying to communicate with her. So I've got my treat pouch. These are her treats. I broke them up into little tiny pieces. She doesn't need huge treats. And the only time you're going to give treats is when they do something with telling them one time, not with correction. So if I were to tell her to sit, she did it, so I treat her. It's a good girl. That's a good girl. I'll use less and less treats as we progress into training. Puppies, they train really easily with treats or clickers, which I have one right here. As you can tell, the sound triggered her to look at me and be like, what the heck is that? Good girl. So you're going to praise every single time your dog looks at you and makes eye contact with you, because you want to encourage focus. You want her to pay attention to you and not whatever's going on around her. When she started training, she would freak out even if she left her fence. So we are in a public park right now, and she's super chill. She's hanging out. She has a really good foundation, but we're going to start with leash walking. So the way you hold your leash is super important. You're going to loop your right thumb. This is all backwards if you're walking on the right. Loop your right thumb through the handle, grab your extra, and then you're going to grab with your left hand where it would be if you didn't have a dog. So you don't want this kind of stuff, because all of that tension is going to feed down your leash into your dog, and that's not what you want. You don't want them to be anxious. You don't want them to be wound up. So you're looking for relaxed from both dogs, so that's what you have to show them. They mimic your behavior. So you're going to hold right here. You're not applying any pressure. You want to have this little loop. Come a little bit closer. Sit. Good. You want to have this little loop of slack. So you don't want it to be tense all the time. If your dog is a terrible leash walker, this is going to look way uglier in the beginning. So give yourself some grace. I said that in the first video. Just, focus on having a good time with your dog. Act like an idiot. Really pay attention to the sounds I'm making with her, because tone is everything. So it'll be really high-pitched fun stuff, and then monotone, no, we're not doing that, and then move on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite her to heel with me, and we're going to start with what I call 180s. So I'll take a few steps backwards. I'm going to spin, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to give her the leash so that if she hits the end of the leash, she's correcting herself. You don't want to drag her around. You want her to learn, oh, if I focused on mom or dad, then I don't get corrected at all, and there's no pressure on my neck. That's the goal. They do what you want without having to force them to do it. So here we go. Listen to my verbal cues, all of that. Heel. So I'm going to walk. Then I'm going to drop the leash out of my left hand, and if she doesn't follow, hey, hey, like this. Heel. Good girl. And when they do follow on their own, praise them for it. Heel. If it's really messy in the beginning, you can also use a treat. Sit. Good. You can use a treat. Make sure you're praising too with your hands. That way they learn, treats or toy, one or the other, mean the same thing as hands praise or good girl. You need to mark it with yes, no, good. What you can do is you can grab a treat and actually lure and teach them to heel with you. So you're just going to hold it. Don't give them the whole treat until you do some perfect 180. See how she followed beautifully like that? Let's show you a little closer. Good. And when you stop, she sits. Yes. Then she gets the treat. So she's nibbling on it. She's nibbling. She's nibbling. You're teaching her, hey, this is positive. If I stay right here in this heel position, then I get treats. I get food. She's telling me I'm a good girl, all of that. So if you have a puppy, you can use treats for luring, and it's way easier. Feed down. Yes. Good girl. Sit. Yes. She ate the treat. She already is kind of a little bit further, so I know you guys are going to be struggling. If your dog gets the slip lead on for the first time, or the training collar, or whatever, and they start like doing this flipping crap, use motivation. If your dog is freaking out and they're stalling and they're putting on the brakes and they don't want to move anywhere because they don't know what leash pressure is, don't yank on them and yank on them and yank on them. Use motivation. Like, come, yes. For her, this isn't new. Yes, huh? You sit? Yes. Down. Yes. Oh, it's a good girl. It's a good girl. Yes, a good girl. Yep. So, lure with your treat. She doesn't really need it, but she is having an issue with sniffing, so we'll work on that. When you're taking your dog for a structured walk, I say 75% of it is structured. You're going to heel with me. You're going to do drills. Sit. Yes. Good girl. Yes. And then the last 25% of it, don't yank on me, but you can go be a dog and sniff stuff and whatever. So I would say structure in the beginning and then play at the end, just because it's way harder to do it backwards and get them starting out playing and then having to pay attention. But if they have to pay attention from the get-go and then they have some freedom, it's a little bit easier to battle. So that's the goal there. So what you're going to do is literally back and forth. I'm going to stop using treats because she understands this. And I'll teach you how to use leash pressure. So she's expected every time I stop walking, she sits. So that when you get them to sit, you're going to pull straight up on the leash until their butt hits the ground, kind of like a lever. So if one side goes up, the other side goes down. If they don't know sit yet, or they only know it with a treat, pair it together. So you're going to use leash pressure up and a treat to get them to sit. And right when they sit, the pressure goes immediately away. So they know the faster I do this, the faster I do what they ask me to do, the pressure goes away. I get a treat. I get praised, whatever it is. So let's do it, girl. Heel. So I'm doing this 180 and I'm letting her fail. If she's sniffing, I'm going to pull up. No. Heel. Good. Yes. So see how she engaged with me and I told her good. Let her fail. She's already warmed up for the day, so she's not failing. But if she were to not follow me, heel. Little tiny pop. You're not going to yank your dog. Heel. Good girl. And then when I stop, hand signal to sit. Good girl. Heel. So do this. This is what I want you guys to practice for the first week. It's not going to be pretty like this. It's going to be really hard. And it's going to take a lot of patience. Heel. No. Be patient with yourself. If you get frustrated, put your dog away for a little bit. Come back to it. Sit. Because they feed off of all of your emotion. You're such a good girl. Yes, you are. I was hoping you would be more naughty. Yes, I was, but you're such a good girl. No, sit. So she broke her sit. I told her no. I applied pressure straight up and then released it when she did it. That doesn't deserve a treat because she broke her command. If that makes sense. Heel. No. So that time she was a little bit more defiant. Heel. So she got a little correction. Heel. Like that. No. You're not yanking and putting all your body weight into it. No. What are you doing? Come. Heel. Sit. Yes. So she had quite a few successes in a row, so I'm going to give her a treat just to pair positive reinforcement with what she's doing. Heel. Heel. That is the first round sit of training. The next video will go over sit, stay. We'll work on sitting and waiting at doors, creating a permission-based relationship with your dog. This is all going to kind of come together, but your dog has to understand this leash pressure first. So if they're still dragging you in a week, keep working on this. Reach out. If you need help, let me know. I can help you. Email me, message me, whatever. Find me on social media. Call me. I don't care. I can send little more how-to videos. She made it look easy. just know that you're going to struggle. Learning new things is hard for us and for the dogs. And you guys are jumping into this learning new things for you, learning techniques for you, and the dog has no idea what they're doing either. So, like I said, if you have a puppy that's just flailing on the end of the leash, lots and lots of motivation. You can invest in a clicker. If you don't know what a clicker is, it's one of these. They're cheap at the pet store. You use it to mark good behavior. So if she were to sit, and I did it on my own, or she did it on her own, mark. So you're going to mark it with babies, mark, treat. Then they start learning, oh, the clicker means I get a treat. And then you're soon going to ease off every 5 times you do something right, and every 5 times I click, you get a treat. And then you're going to ease away from it. So use positive and negative markers, have some patience, use your slip lead or your leash or whatever, and I'll see you on the next video.